Hey, this is Tyler Zarzeka, and you're listening to Concert Crap.
Hey guys, it's Karen with Concert Crap, and I'm here with Tyler Zarzeka. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So we're here at Warped Tour. You are on tour with Tatiana DeMaria playing drums with her.
Yep.
Alright, so you're a bit of a touring drummer, and I understand you've had an interesting road. So let's start with, how did you get into drumming?
It's an interesting story. So I was a senior in high school, and I just started getting into punk rock and hardcore music, and all my friends at the time were listening to these different bands that I'd never really been introduced to, and I think drums just kind of stuck out more mentally. And I started noticing I was tapping on my desk in class, and had no musical preconceptions prior to that. No one told me what a drum set was. I didn't know how it worked, but it just clicked with me. There was something about it that I liked. I don't know what it was, just the audible of hearing cymbals and drums and the tribal vibe of it, And so I asked my dad for a drum set, and he said no. He said, you'll have a pair of sticks, and if in 1 year you still want a drum set, I'll get you a drum set. So a whole year, I literally just sat on my bed, practiced every day, not knowing what I was doing or practicing. There was no YouTube to follow. The internet was still small at this time. There was magazines out, but I didn't really know what they were. I just kind of was just hitting things, and then finally got the drum set a year later. Started some crappy band with my friends, and loved it. And that kind of evolved to, playing with bands, but then realizing that there's a way to kind of survive in the music industry. It's playing for pop singers and stuff like that. I knew that was a thing, and I kind of wanted that more than being in a band that I created myself.
So you started as a drummer, moved to a tech, and now you're back to a drummer. So how did that timeline happen?
It really coincided with the economy turning to shit in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
I was working at a backline company called Center Staging, and I would just build drum sets every day, working for a studio, placing orders for drummers and just building their rigs and setting them off and then receiving them back, and just being surrounded by drums, and I loved it. But I also wasn't getting phone calls for being a drummer anymore. And so I kept seeing these people that were coming through the studio that tour all the time as doing the exact same thing I'm doing, except I was making $10 an hour and these people were making $2,000 a week. So I was I have to dive into this world, and I just kind of kept my ear open for anybody that was looking for a drummer or a drum tech. And my first call was for Hanson, the boy band. Went on the road with them as Zach's drum tech, and I fell in love with it. I thought it was the greatest thing, and I was making more money than I was than being a drummer, unfortunately. And that kind of just fell into my life, that this is my new career. And I kind of thought drumming was over for me. I went to music school and I gave it all, but I also had no money, and I needed to survive somehow, but I wanted to survive with the music industry. So I then got a call for Usher in 2010 and went on the road with him for 4 years. After that, did a bunch of other gigs with that same drummer, and then moved on to Demi Lovato for a few years. And after all that time had passed, I got to see the world. I made a lot of new friends, but I wasn't drumming, and I was just turning 30, and thankfully a good buddy of mine, Max, pulled me aside and was like, listen, nobody knows you're a drummer anymore. You are a great drummer, or were a great drummer. Who knows if you still have it anymore, because it's been so many years. But you should try to get back into this. He had a gig in line for me, and he's like, as long as you nail the audition or whatever, the gig is yours. And so I stopped being a tech in 2014. So it's a little more than 4 years ago. And did that small gig, did a tour, that led to another gig, which just led to bigger and bigger gigs. So it's been only, for the most part, drumming since I kind of quit Demi.
And being a tech, do you look at drumming differently now?
Yes and no. I've always been hands-on with anything, Legos as a kid, and just tearing any electronics apart and just seeing what the insides are like.
Yeah.
Drums are very hands-on. They have just all these little parts, and you always need tools with you, and it's I love fixing those things, and especially when a drummer has no clue on how to tune a drum or maintain a drum, and I come in and save the day and fix that drum and make a drummer happy. That made me just as happy as playing the drum, But as far as looking at it differently, I feel like I'd still look at it the same way, even if I didn't have my backline tech experience or roadie experience, I still would be just as involved with tuning and maintenance and just everything that comes with like making your drum set last forever, you know?
Okay, so for the drummers out there who are listening to this, what gear do you use?
Drum set wise, I am endorsed and use Q drums. I currently have a mahogany kit and a few snares by them, and then Zildjian cymbals, Bigford Benny Greb signature drumsticks, Remo drum heads, JH Audio in-ears, and Roland Electronics.
Alright, and obviously now you're on Warped Tour with Tatiana DeMaria, and we're all melting here, so it's nice to have some AC for a little bit. So is Warped Tour a different experience than a regular tour, like with Usher or Demi Lovato or anything?
Oh yeah, totally. But it's still, I mean, the camaraderie's here, the professionalism is here, you still make the friends the same way, we still travel on the bus the same way, you know. The only differences I can see is just everyone here is tattooed, and everyone in the pop world is not.
Oh, no.
Yeah. That's, I mean, but as far as that, like, I feel like even the people here on work are like more kind and more hardworking than what I'm used to seeing, which I did not expect, because it's a nightmare out here. It's just so hot. The bands that I'm like traveling with right now work their ass off selling CDs and just like hustle all the time, and I've never seen that ever in my entire life. So it's refreshing. It's cool. I like it.
Okay, so what does a day on tour in general look like? Like, what time do you start rehearsing? Do you start getting your kit together? Do you build your own kit on stage?
So this tour is different also for that fact. I still wake up early. I wake up at 7 a.m. just so I can get to the stage by 8, because we have to, me and the bass player, kind of dump the gear that's on the stage. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to use my own drum set on this tour. We're just sharing a drum set that's on stage. But it's still kind of part of a requirement that we show up every morning, kind of work a little bit, help the crew out so that they're not super exhausted. So yeah, wake up, do that, catering lunch, warm up, depends on what time we play. You know, we don't find out what time we play until 10 a.m. every day, which is not like any other tour. Every other tour, it's like you play for sure at 8 o'clock every night, you know, and that doesn't change. But this one, like, dates change and hours change all the time. And it's mostly just living at catering, getting all the free coffee you can.
AC, probably.
Sitting in the AC as much as possible, warming up, and then performing and then hanging out. It's pretty easy.
And your warm-up, do you do the same thing every day, or do you kind of change it up?
I have a few things that I'm working on currently with my technique. But for the most part, yeah, it's just a lot of double strokes, single strokes, paradiddles, and a lot of slow practicing as well. I do a lot of quiet practicing too, because I don't want to disturb other people. But I also feel like those small muscles never get worked out as much, so I do a lot of that versus just like the aggressive stuff, which is going to come on stage naturally anyways, you know.
And for a young drummer who's sitting at home and is thinking of starting in the drumming world, what would be your top tips?
That's a good one. Obviously practice. I feel like I wasn't actually born with the best rhythm in the world. Obviously I have something, but I didn't come out of the womb like just it's in me, you know. So I had to work on it. I had to work on it a lot. When I went to music school, I was the worst student in my class. I could not play Billie Jean on drums, and that was day one of school. And I tell everyone that to this day, like, I did not know what I was doing, or I did not know what I was getting myself into. But I had such drive, and I had so many people from my past saying like that I couldn't do it, that's what pushed me to want to do it better. So it was just, I practiced so much. I feel like more than anybody I knew had practiced, because everyone at school at that time had already been drumming for 6-7 years, and I had been drumming only for 1.5 years at that moment. So I had so much catching up to do that my whole life was literally just practice slow and steady, and then eventually that would become, you know, quality performing, quality drumming. So definitely practice, definitely save your money, because, you know, living on the road, you make a lot of money real quick, and then you make no money. And a lot of people blow through it. A lot of my friends are dealing with that stuff and don't know how to handle themselves financially, and or take care of themselves physically. But no, just keep at it. If it's something you really want to do, go for it. That's the best advice. That's what my mom told me to do. She always told me to do what made me the happiest, and I think I made a good decision.
So also always listen to your mom?
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright, do you have anything
So I have her
else?
tattooed on my hand.
Oh, you do? Oh yeah, I didn't notice that. Alright, do you have anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
I do have 2 tours coming up in the fall, which I haven't announced yet.
Okay.
You're the first person that I'm telling ever. One is with Noah Cyrus, full U.S. tour with her, and then I'm doing Kiara as well a few days after the Noah tour ends.
So you're going to be on the road for a while?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Alright, thanks for joining me, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This has been Karen with Concert Prep, and we'll catch you next time.